It is 11/11, 11/11, 2023. Hello, TFL at War and Lindy London and Justin Wynn. And so now I know, and at a time. Hi, Sherry Hughes, as always, and Marty, thank you very much. Schmoody Cat and Jane Northrup and Haska Sun and Oracle 11 and Under Nature. Seek and ye shall find. Barb in Ohio. And Cynthia Johnston. Hello. And, there are times when I email people and I tell them in the email that I'm going to call them later, and I forget, things happen, and I apologize, but I'm going to shoot for tomorrow. If any of you have received that email today, you'll know that I'm talking to you. Space Indian, hello. Step Down, hello. Oh, boy. What a life. What a friggin' life. I need to read some of these comments. No, at a time. I don't know why you're having problems with the email. I'm not on Smilin' Rocks. Smilin' Rocks was a primary email for me, but I've said this over and over and over again. I can't get into Smilin' Rocks. When Never Lose Truth went down, or Kafka Winston World went down, a channel went down, and then all Gmail products went down, and Gmail, Smilin' Rocks at Gmail, doesn't recognize me, will not accept me for who I am. So I lost access to that channel. So, anyway, yeah, frustration. A lot of frustration today again. Question everything. Excuse me. I have something stuck in my throat. I'm not sure who you're talking to, Step Down. Yeah. And yeah, getting backstabbed constantly it's very hard to live through. I'm so sad you live so far away from me as well. So, let me say hello to a few more people, and I'll get on with it. Darren James Spencer, D. La Victoria, hello. You do like how my hair looks? Wow. Because I was attacked by a bee just before going live. And the bee was in my hair, and I kept flipping my hair around, ran outside, scared my cat, Babe, who ran away, and I've been stung twice here. The bees are pretty aggressive where I'm living. Excuse me. So, Brenda Rose, hello. I do have something caught in my throat. One moment. All right, hopefully that's a little better. Okay, so Where was I? Well, let's start with this. Oh, and I can't, on Brave or Chrome, I can't get any YouTube video to play. They came back and hit me with that allow ads, refresh page. I don't have any ad blocker on my computer anymore because of the last problems that I was having with that. And it started sometime mid-afternoon, and I have not been able to see a video on YouTube. Frustrations are mounting quite a bit. So, don't you love it?
Wow, what a weather controlled sunset we're having today. Incredible. Carp waves in every direction. They got it turned on, boys. I just talked to 3 FWC officers and a sheriff deputy all about it. First time I got to really show it to them and explain it for 10 minutes solid what was going on. I loved it. They were intrigued. What a beautiful life I have, and they're destroying it, guys. Absolutely destroying my life. I loaded a couple videos here. One's got some weird circles in the sky, but these harp lines are not for us. They're controlling our weather, guys. Standing by. Amazing sunset this stuff creates. Sunsets I've never seen before, and I've seen more sunsets than any human could ever imagine out here on the water. Standing by.
Real Fishing Life. I will put his channel link in the chat. Come on over and give him support. Anybody who could look at that sky and think that that is a natural sky, what do people think? Do they think, oh, well, it's climate change. Climate change is doing that to the sky. Really? Really? You think? You think? You don't think. You don't want to think. But you really should want to think about what you're seeing in the sky, because it's very dangerous and it's bringing an awful lot of destruction. Who controls the weather controls the world. President Johnson. Okay, so breaking news. Another apartment building goes up in flames.
Breaking news this morning, an apartment fire in Northeast Atlanta has been burning now for nearly 8 hours. Atlanta News First reporter Bridget Spencer is live near La Vista and Cheshire Bridge Roads this morning. Bridget, more than 24 people are out of their apartments.
That's right. We're at the Reserve at La Vista Walk. I just spoke with a Red Cross representative, and she is saying that she is afraid that this building may be condemned. I want to show you where we are. There is a firefighter on top of that ladder focusing on this edge of this roof over here, trying to put out these flames that have really just been burning for several hours overnight at this point, Megan. Now, we do know that luckily there are no injuries. We are hearing lots of pets were inside of the building. They were out alive as well, so that's good news. The Red Cross is telling me between 28 to 35 people at this point have been displaced. They are desperately working, trying to relocate these people. In fact, they said they have gotten a bus ready to come out here to load everyone to go to a shelter. That is how bad this fire is. It's displaced so many people, and the building, I just did a walk around, and it is damaged, of course, and it's looking pretty bad. So a lot of these people are going to have to find another place to live. We did hear from a resident earlier, right when the fire started. He was talking about how they were alerted of the fire.
I looked out my window. I saw fire trucks rolling up, police cars rolling up. Next thing I know, I hear banging on the doors in my halls. They bang on my door, tell me to evacuate the building. I grab what I can, and me and my girlfriend get out of my apartment, go down to the street.
Banging on the door, grab what you can. Imagine that is going to be your experience. And if you say, well, I don't live in an apartment building, imagine the police with their, microphones screaming at everybody in your neighborhood to evacuate due to fire. Or how about just not getting an alert at all? Which an awful lot of people, that's what happens to them. Small plane overtakes the runway and crashes through a fence into a car. Wow. Alrighty then. Imagine just driving down the road, listening maybe to some music. Boom, a plane. A lot of people are having very strange experiences. And where was this? It was in McKinney, Texas. A Honduran illegal immigrant charged with rape and kidnapping was released in Virginia despite a request by ICE to hold him until it could take him into custody to deport him. ICE arrested him nearly 2 months later. Isn't it great? What a benefit these migrants are, huh? 3 shot at Brookhaven Shopping Center in Atlanta. I am telling you, we are having an awful lot of shootings.
This morning, a triple shooting in Brookhaven. This happened around 5:40 this morning in the parking lot of the Suntan Shopping Center on Buford Highway, not far from the intersection with North Druid Hills Road. Police say the 3 people were taken to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Officers have not shared what led up to that shooting or if they've made an arrest.
Well,
This morning.
thank you for that report. And how about, is this the scooter guy? Yeah. A Madison teen shot in the head trying to sell his scooter via the marketplace on Facebook.
Tonight, a teen really is lucky to be alive after being shot in the head.
What was supposed to be a simple sale of a scooter led to a potentially deadly ambush. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Sharp.
And I'm Rory Johnston. Yeah, Metro Police now searching for the shooter who left this 19-year-old almost dead.
And as Nick Barris tells us, what happened is a cautionary tale for anyone looking to make a sale to a stranger they met online.
It was supposed to be a simple transaction arranged on Facebook Marketplace. 2 people to meet in an apartment complex parking lot in Madison, and then something went terribly wrong. This is 19-year-old Preston Kyle Colson, and he nearly died after suffering a gunshot wound to the head.
Oh, he was bleeding horribly, and out of his right ear, you could see the entry wound.
Preston's grandfather was concerned about his grandson going alone to meet a man who wanted to buy his electric scooter, so he went with him Friday night. The grandfather waited in the car while Preston got out.
That's when I heard pop, and I looked up and looked around. I thought, where's Preston? Well, he's laying on the ground. He'd been shot in the head. All over a simple electric scooter cell.
There was a confrontation, and Preston did manage to use his pepper spray before he was shot.
He felt he was being robbed, assaulted.
The shooter escaped with an accomplice in a car, leaving the scooter behind, and Preston gravely injured on the pavement.
It's been very... it's been difficult. I mean, I almost saw my grandson die in front of me.
The bullet missed Preston's brain. It ended up lodged in his spine. No paralysis, but he will still need surgery and rehab. Incredibly, the teen was conscious actually giving the thumbs up to his family just hours after the incident at the hospital.
I asked, I said, "How are you feeling, Preston?" He held that thumb up, and I thought that was a miracle.
Was this an arranged ambush or something else? I can tell you Metro Police at this point do not have an arrest or any suspects. Anyone with information is asked to contact Metro PD.
Of course, no arrest. What do you mean? This should be a duh moment. Hope he recovers quickly. And right? Duh. Don't go meeting anyone you don't know. Never a good idea. He brought his grandfather with him. And while we do have an awful lot of people being shot today, there are still people who transact Marketplace, Craigslist, and it all goes well. But don't go meeting nobody you don't know. Trust is gone. And this is, I don't know if you've seen any of these news clips of the mayor of Dalton, and this is in Illinois. Oh my God. All right. Woof. It's scary that these people that are in positions of power remain in positions of power.
It investigates a small south suburb with big bills and leaders with expensive taste. Last night, we showed you how some residents and elected officials claim the local mayor retaliates against people who don't support her.
Well, tonight we look at a spending spree that's also causing questions and concern. Here again, investigative reporter Ben Bradley.
40 minutes south of Chicago, you'll find Dalton, Illinois. The median income is $24,000 a year, and yet the mayor collects more than 10 times that amount from various elected positions. And as we found, a paycheck isn't the only perk.
In south suburban Dalton, the economic challenges run deep.
We still have areas that need trees cut, streets paved, alleys paved, sidewalks fixed. It's a lot of that going on.
And a lot that's being spent, not on critical repairs, but on travel, meals, and more by many top village officials.
It's an issue. It's been an issue for some time.
We just look up and we're paying for stuff. And it just makes no sense. She's just doing what she wants to do.
None of them do the things that we do here. We the only ones making sure y'all streets get paid, find ways to fix what is broken.
She is Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
But then they run in y'all, tell y'all this little fictitious story.
Would you like to just do an interview with me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, let's go. I mean,
In addition to leading Dalton, she also serves as supervisor of Thornton Township.
You make almost $300,000 between your two elected positions.
I do not. I don't know where you got that number from.
We got it from her own village and township records.
These are tax dollars.
So is the money being spent on village credit cards. WGN Investigates obtained copies of statements that reveal village officials have spent more than $24,000 at restaurants in just 1 year, including this Midlothian barbecue joint and a South Holland sub shop.
I've seen the same thing and more. You name it, they've done it.
Other questionable expenses include the streaming service Hulu, flights to Texas, Alabama, and Missouri, and hotel rooms in nearby suburbs, including Madison and Elk Grove Village, plus thousands of dollars spent at a hotel in downstate Pontiac.
My take is this: if they are going to something that's going to benefit the village, that's fine. But from my standpoint of view, these things don't benefit the village at all.
And then there are the trips to Las Vegas. Mayor Henyard and other top officials traveled to Sin City in May to attend a shopping center conference. It's unclear if it helped Dalton land any deals.
Don't have a clue We're all in the dark. Not only are the residents in the dark, but the trustees are also in the dark as well.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
Actually, yes. The credit card records do shed some light on tax dollars spent at several restaurants near the Strip, including Cafe Hollywood and Hot and Juicy Crawfish.
All right, any other questions?
So you're not going to answer how taxpayer dollars are being spent? That seems odd.
I just answered it. What do you mean? I just answered your questions.
You said you wouldn't answer about Las Vegas.
You asked me a question and I responded. So any other questions you may have?
They may have signed up for a conference, but they never bring anything back. So we have no idea why they go to these trips.
Remember, we mentioned Henyard was also supervisor at Thornton Township. WGN Investigates obtained copies of that agency's credit card statements as well. They show township taxpayers also spent money on the Vegas trip on everything from steak dinners to hotels, and $3,741 just on Henyard's round-trip flight.
But I shouldn't have to sit up here and break all this down.
When trustees refused to pay a big block of bills this week, the mayor accused them of putting vital city services in jeopardy.
We need receipts to understand what's going on.
We couldn't help but notice the red hat perched in front of Mayor Henyard throughout the meeting. It's from the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, which, by the way, was apparently a stop on the Vegas trip. $303 billed to Thornton Township taxpayers.
We just feel lost, and we just want the powers that be to step in and say, hey, you know, something's got to give.
Is there anybody else? I just want to be clear. Anybody else after that? Is that it? That's it?
This woman is, wow, pretty intense. Where was the other video, though? There was another, political targeting sparked drama in Dalton.
But that's not how some of the people would characterize her leadership.
Show me 23.
The night of June 10th, police arrived at this truck yard in Dalton, owned by Lawrence Gardner.
How are you? I don't know. I was doing good till you got here.
The reason police responded depends on who you ask. In this report, officers said it was for an ordinance violation for hosting a group of bikers at his business without a license. But Gardner has a different take.
Okay. It's what it is. Well, so here we go.
He says he's been repeatedly harassed for not supporting Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
We taking care of all the business, right? All the business.
You can't stop me from closing my gate. Last time I'm gonna say it, sir. Okay.
Please stop.
I'm not.
Okay.
The standoff that night ended with Gardner in handcuffs.
I'm tired of them. They've been harassing me for months and months and months. Have a seatbelt, sir.
And charged with misdemeanor obstructing an officer.
How do I matter you? With the gate? It's all on body cam, no big deal.
The charge eventually dropped. Case closed, right? Not quite. Gardner claims the harassment continues.
I'm suffering. They destroyed my trucking company. They shut my store down.
And he's not alone. Others in town are sharing similar stories of alleged retaliation for not supporting this suburban mayor.
It's a regular occurrence. She uses the police force to intimidate residents.
The Dalton Park District's director said in her case, the mayor objected to a car show on park property and shut down the event.
It felt like an abuse of power. She used her entire police force to come in and prevent something from happening because things didn't go her way, really.
Some businesses, even village employees, are now suing Dalton.
I filed the lawsuit because I am a victim of retaliation.
Eris Montgomery is Dalton's deputy village clerk. In her complaint, filed last May in federal court, she claims the board increased her pay to $60,000, but the mayor ordered not to implement the raise. because the clerk didn't support Henyard politically.
People are walking on eggshells, so to speak. They're afraid to have an opinion about anything or to fulfill their duties.
Since taking office in 2021, Henyard has repeatedly clashed with residents and fellow elected officials, even locking trustees out of Village Hall amid a dispute.
This is the second time she did this.
That was 2021. 2 years later, dysfunction is still the definition of a Dalton Village board meeting.
You the ones that's costing the village money. And y'all don't have that call. I would call. All right.
What was she supposed to do? You wanted her to expound? Don't drag out the meeting.
I made a motion.
It took 30 minutes of yelling just to agree on the order of the night's agenda. Some residents say they are fed up.
Until this administration starts respecting us as citizens, I'll be damned if I'm going to respect them as an administration.
3.5 hours later, we had a quick chance to chat with the mayor.
At what point is this dysfunction a reflection on your leadership?
When I replace my board.
Are you punishing your political opponents?
No, not at all. I'm a God person, God-fearing person, that I don't touch stuff like that. I want people to know that I'm caring, I love what I do, I stay in the fire for them, and I bring products and produce things here in our community for them.
Her team said the mayor would not discuss any lawsuits or specific allegations of political targeting.
From my perspective, they're sort of kicking these cans down the road and not doing much to defend them.
Well, there you are.
Attorney Patrick Walsh represents Dalton's deputy clerk and another village employee, both of whom are suing the suburb, alleging they were victims of political retaliation.
We've had cases in other municipalities. It certainly happens, but not on this scale. They don't even take steps to try to hide it.
Gardner says he's also considering a lawsuit alleging the village illegally shut down his candy store.
I lost it all.
And his trucking business.
There's no freight. I just have a couple of friends that don't have anywhere to put their belongings, so I put the stuff in here to collect a couple of dollars to pay the rent.
Back in June, after Dalton had shut him down, Gardner's security cameras captured two people he insists were Mayor Henyard's henchmen.
Here it is. Here's the lock they cut.
The night of his arrest, Gardner asked if cops were the ones who cut his lock.
You know you shouldn't have cut that lock off and went in my property. You shouldn't have done that.
Again, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna let it go. Nobody cut a lock off your property.
Okay.
All right.
But Gardner's not giving up or giving in.
And then when I call and try to find out, it's always, you have to talk to the mayor. You got to talk to the mayor. Well, the mayor never answered the phone. Nobody else can say anything.
But she's God-fearing. She's a God-fearing woman. Holy shit. Wow. Well, there has to be some tool for the residents to use to get rid of her, don't you think? Oh my God. Sick, very sick, twisted people we've got here. Make changes or move. Florida County tells mobile home park to repair hurricane damage or get out.
In Pinellas County, Hurricane Idalia continues to make waves for people living here at Twin City Mobile Home Park. Some say they still haven't been able to return because of flood damage. And now county leaders are saying they either need to make the repairs to come up to code or move out.
This has been hell.
Erin Roth still hasn't been able to sleep in her own bed after Hurricane Idalia flooded her community.
I have a 14-year-old, so it's been pretty rough not being able to come home.
We've met with Roth multiple times in the past over flooding concerns in her neighborhood, except this storm left her and neighbors feeling hopeless.
It took everything from us. It's almost like having your kid taken away from you, or I mean, our whole investment, our whole future is gone. It's indescribable.
Now, just this week, people living in the mobile home park called me concerned after they received this letter from Pinellas County. It reads in part, quote, "Your home is considered substantially damaged and must be brought into compliance with county and state requirements," end quote. Those requirements, Douglas McVeigh and his neighbors say they just can't afford.
What they're asking, to raise it 9 feet, that's extreme and very, very expensive. I mean, because that's just raising the home. That is not including your electrical, your plumbing, your sewer.
The letter also states they have until next hurricane season to come up to code, or they'll need to move. This comes after the residents tell me FEMA already quoted them for damage post-Idalia. Now Roth and McVeigh say it was all for nothing.
My reaction was pissed. I mean, I just spent all this money fixing this place to be told that it didn't matter.
Oh, wow. So many Americans are getting screwed. If everybody was getting screwed at the exact same time, they would unite. But, you know, part and parcel here, there, and everywhere, and raise the home 9 feet because of climate change, not weather modification. Climate change. So I was sent this by a subscriber whom I'd like to thank. I have not verified all of the figures that this woman speaks, but probably true. I gotta refresh. And here.
I heard a new term on TikTok today that made me stop in my tracks.
We are living in the silent depression.
This guy believes we are not just living in worse than the Great Depression, we're living in the silent depression. The average annual income in 1930 for an American individual was a little over $4,800. Sounds like nothing, but if you adjust that for inflation, a little over $4,800 a year in 1930 is equivalent to almost $85,000 annually for the average salary for one person. Right now, the average annual salary is $56,000 a year. We currently are making less than the height of the Great Depression. In 1930, gas was on average 10 cents a gallon. That would be about $1.73. In case you haven't filled up your car lately, average cost of a gallon of gas is $3.55. To buy a new car in 1930 would have been about $860. It's worth about $15,000. The average cost of a new car today is $48,000. And of course, the most coveted aspect of the American dream, being able to buy a house in 1930 cost about $3,900, less than $70,000. I spend way too much time on Zillow, so maybe this isn't surprising to me, but the average price of a home in America today is $416,000. How could we be living through worse cost of living and wages than 1930? And no politician, no media outlet, no one is talking about it. I heard a new term on TikTok today that made me stop in my tracks.
We are
You think an awful lot of people are freaking out? They are. And blue states take funds from disabled Americans to subsidize illegal migrants. Isn't it great? Healthcare programs for illegal immigrants that have exploded in costs, even as some of the state's most vulnerable citizens lack access to needed care. It's a particularly cruel example of the misplaced priorities of the radical left and the not-so-radical Republicans, who sit back and don't do anything. In 2021, Illinois created its first health care program for alien residents over age 65. Subsequent expansions have made individuals above age 42 eligible for benefits. The expanded eligibility brought with it an influx of enrollees. As of this spring, the number of beneficiaries was growing 10% per month. These are the alien residents, not the American residents that are citizens, but the others. Exploding enrollment brought exploding costs. Spending estimates grew fivefold in the span of 3 months, from $220 million in Pritzker, Governor of Illinois, Pritzker's February budget to $1.1 billion in May. Just a few short months. Generous welfare benefits can serve as a migration magnet. In 1993, our fabulous Hillary Clinton said that benefits under proposed health care legislation should not apply to illegal immigrants. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. And Bill, her husband, when he was president, well, he had stated, we need a secure border. Country without a border is not a country. An Illinois program estimated to cost $2 million 3 short years ago now has risen to a budget of $550 million after the enrollment cap took effect. You can read more, but it focuses on Illinois. How do you think California is doing? How do you think New York is doing? And the Republican states, a whole lot of people are suffering, whether it's the illegal migrants or everything else. Skyrocketing inflation, rents skyrocketing, all the hurdles, the rules and regulations that you have to go through to have a business, all of the fees and permits that you have to buy. So, no. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone coming to our rescue. Oh, I think we're the rescuers. Oh, so did I subscribe? I don't know what channel I'm on now. Oh, Never Lose Truth 5. Okay, I did on one. The holistic psychologist here. Why some people never apologize. I will say that the majority have great difficulty apologizing. Why is that? Why do people have great difficulty taking responsibility for even the slightest thing that they have done, only making the problem bigger and bigger? Why? A whole lot of people believe they're right in every circumstance. They have to be right. Those who do apologize, a whole lot do it disingenuously. You would think that just a simple apology wouldn't be that hard for people, but apparently it is.
Oh, just get over it.
How come you never apologize when you're wrong or when you hurt someone in our family?
Oh, just get over it.
How come you never apologize when you're wrong or when you hurt someone in our family?
Honey, you're a child. Why would I apologize to a child?
Because I'm also a human being, and when you hurt someone, it's important to apologize and repair after the situation.
Honey, repair is for household appliances.
So how do you think I'll learn accountability in relationships?
What?
How do you think I'll learn to be accountable for how I impact the people close to me? A lot of the times you say really hurtful things, and then you go on acting like nothing happened. So I'm just wondering how I'll learn to not be that way.
Here we go. Blame the parents for everything.
See, that's another example of a lack of accountability. To be accountable, we need to stop being defensive and listen to how other people experience us. If the person has a valid point, we can be empathetic and apologize. This shows people we value their emotions and allows them to trust us. I have a valid point here, and you're just dismissing it.
You know what the problem is with kids these days? They want explanations. They want to talk about feelings. When I was growing up, if I talked to my dad like this, he would have given me the belt. Things were better when kids were terrified and actually respected elders.
Okay, here's what I'm learning. Being accountable and listening to how other people feel isn't important. The best thing to do is invalidate the people around me and act like they're the one with the problem. The way you were raised has had a dramatic effect on you, and you're not really aware of that yet. You shut down any time someone talks about how they feel, and you've had a series of relationships with dismissive, abusive men who are just like your father, including Dad. Healthy relationships don't involve fearing someone. They involve true respect. And true respect comes from listening and letting people know you care about how they feel.
Wow, so simple. Yep, that's it. All of the videos that you're seeing that I'm playing on YouTube, I pulled up before. YouTube hit me with the ad blockers, violate YouTube terms of service. Allow YouTube ads. Refresh page.
It is heartbreaking for the family.
Ah ha ha ha. I swear somebody's in my computer just to humiliate me. Just for all of you to think that I was lying before. Oh. Okay, well, what to do, what to do. Oh, that was a video on my queue. Wait, I don't know what the hell is going on. What is going on? What's going on? Oh, okay. So, there's a channel. End Assisted Suicide. This is Ingrid's story. And I guess California, case to overturn California's assisted suicide law. Ah, the governments love to kill us.
Hi, I'm Ingrid Tischer. I was born with muscular dystrophy. I had scoliosis as a little kid, and then I found out I have sleep apnea, and I was living with chronic respiratory insufficiency. I have pretty severe depression and anxiety. It's increasingly difficult to walk. It's quite difficult to breathe, and I have really limited use of my hands. I am someone who increasingly is dependent on having other people help me with activities of daily living. For some reason, my particular diagnosis does not entitle me to in-home assistance. The doctors I've had who wanted to do helpful things for me, they can't do it because the quote-unquote system won't let them.
So Ms. Tischer was approved in the past, for instance, for physical therapy, and she wasn't able to access it due to transportation issues. And so that benefit wasn't something that she could actually partake in.
It's about the for-profit, increasingly tech-driven practice of medicine.
We have a broken medical system. Even the government providers for insurance and nonprofit providers for medical care are almost as ruthless as the for-profits.
I was hospitalized for a non-COVID pneumonia, and in general, I was going through a severe depressive episode. The care team included a neurologist. He dismissed my request to go to an inpatient rehab facility. He said, look at you. You've known this was coming for a long time, and there's really nothing we can do.
And it was sort of that reaction that she faced that sort of led her to say, you know what, I think that it's time to die. That shouldn't happen to anybody, whether they have a disability or not.
She seriously considered killing herself with assisted suicide, even though she had advocated as a disability rights advocate against it, because she was so demoralized by a system that and a medical professional that had told her, I am not providing you access to that care.
She said, Ken, I want you to promise me something. And I said, what? She said that I can come home to die. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to hear in my life. It was horrible. She heard it as a death sentence, that, this is the end of the road.
Decisions are increasingly being made in medical settings that are not about like a nuanced understanding of the patient. Like it's more like an algorithm deciding it. They're gonna look at my chart. The number they're gonna look at is my respiratory function, which is dismal. It doesn't mean that they're gonna tell me to my face you should commit suicide. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be gently, oh so gently. I'm really worried that I could easily be one of those people in the future who could have been triaged as the highest priority, or instead triaged for death. When I'm not getting enough air, when I'm debilitated, that is not the time for me to have to sit up and start, explaining why I shouldn't have to die. When I'm lying in a hospital bed, I deserve to be a patient.
We have a society that says, you're not worth it. You're not worth the care. And they've presented a false choice. And it becomes the only choice for some people that they can see as viable.
Ken is the reason, that I actually am not dead. And if I hadn't had emotional safety, plus all his physical care, it could have gone a really different way.
I don't know that I did anything except love her and value her and know as selfish I couldn't live without her being there.
I'm actually enjoying my life now, moment to moment, in a way that I have never, ever have. And it's ironic because I'm more disabled right now than I ever have been. I don't need to get over being disabled. I just need to get along, in the world as a disabled person.
We do live in a society where an awful lot of people have, they've just given up care. It's just, it's too much. Why bother? You're disabled. Therefore, you're not of value. You're elderly. You're not of value. This is our society, and this is what the people have manifested. So, do we need to manifest something differently? Yeah. Does that require the individuals to do some work on themselves? Unfortunately, yes. Yes. A whole lot of us are not right. Here is another story.
I had a wonderful life. I had a wonderful life. I still have a wonderful life. I have no complaints, no regrets. I'm a C5 quadriplegic and also a bilateral above the knee amputee, and I am a cancer survivor.
I first met Lonnie. I was the director of a acute rehabilitation facility in San Francisco.
My life was education, military, family.
It's like the issues any of us could be in. That one day we're at the top of the world, the next day, we're totally dependent on care. And so the question is, how does someone deal with that?
My major challenge is having modes of depression, which I do often, and as a result of not having caregivers or getting the medical treatment that I need.
If he didn't have an attendant to turn him, he would break down with bed sores all over and die from that. If he didn't have someone that deals with his urinary stuff or his bowel stuff, he would become impacted. He would get urinary tract infections. Everything pales when you hear a story like Lonnie's.
And I do get distraught sometimes. I do get the feeling as if, things are not all they, should be. I mean, anybody would in this situation.
Initially, when I met Lonnie, he was very angry about his situation. I was concerned whether he was going to be able to take care of himself, whether he was going to let the anger, finish him off. But lo and behold, I think some years later, I don't remember the exact date, but he shows up at my office looking great.
So what I did was return to school and finished off my graduate, computer science and engineering.
It just gets to you that he was able to pull this off.
Primarily, I wanted to help people with disabilities. I worked for the Center for Independent Living, as a benefits counselor.
You know, Mr. Van Hook is an incredibly intelligent individual, but he requires extensive in-home care services in order to do basic activities. And the state of California has even approved, you know, some amount of those supports for him. But when you go to try to access those theoretical supports in real life, you can't. That means that he's then not able to fully engage with work. He's not able to fully engage with his life. And a situation like that is a situation that is set up to make somebody start feeling depressed and struggle and feel as if they don't have any options.
Almost everyone I see, they're thinking of suicide possibly. Some more consistently than others, but it's there. It's always there.
I was going to go to Oregon to participate in the physician-assisted suicide program. I ended up in the hospital with an infection, with a bladder infection, and I became quite septic, so I was not able to travel.
Hey, here's this pill, you know, go home and take it and you're done. That just doesn't make sense. What I see as a doctor is a lack of societal support, and the question is, how much is society willing to put into it?
Instead of offering me any counseling or assistance or anything, they offered to let me not eat anything or drink anything until I perished. I believe that decision was made, honestly, because of the attributes of my disability. One person in particular during that episode said to me, if you're going to go, what's taking you so long? We don't have time to take care of you anyway. We got better patients to take care of. How am I supposed to feel after somebody said that to me? I'm already going through the issues where I feel about my family, how burdensome I am to them. That's not a healthy feeling for anyone. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. That's not a healthy feeling at all. So Dr. Steinmetz was notified about my situation.
I came over and sat with him, and we went over what he was going through.
He always brings to my attention that the strength that I have to endure whatever I'm going through.
And essentially it was just, I'm exhausted. I don't know if it's worth going on. Periodically, just the mechanics of life, getting the care, the money, everything, just it wears us all down.
It did bring me back down to myself, and I came back to the realization that life is worth living, and you saved my life.
If we just had these basic supports in place, that wouldn't even be on his mind, right? And in the past, when he has had that level of supports, he does feel significantly better. And those are things he does not have control over.
The perfect example is this conversation you and I had. They already offered it to you. And one conversation turned it around.
Physician-assisted suicide is very dangerous because it's readily available.
These are my concerns, you know, based upon my clinical experience and dealing with, you know, thousands and thousands of patients.
You are truly not only my loving physician, but you're a dear friend to me.
You know, one day, top of the world, traveling the world. The next day, he's in bed. And for him to be here 33 years later, you know, and having done us what he's done, it's like something that we could all learn from.
These are wows. You know, these people who treat other people as if they're just like a bug to squash really need to be called out. Wow. Well, not a whole lot of people do it because they're scared. They're scared. Oh, this is the video. So, oh, I don't even know what it is. Let's play it.
It is heartbreaking for the families. Law enforcement officers deal with so much trauma. It should be a lot easier for them to get the help they need.
These families probably had no idea. Because we didn't see it coming, though, with Kyle. It just all of a sudden, one day, what do you mean he wants to kill himself?
4 suicides in 2 days involving former and current employees of the LA County Sheriff's Department may be shocking to most people, but not to Laura Linder, founder of the nonprofit Exclusively First Responders. After her son-in-law, Kyle Sword, at the time an LA County Sheriff's deputy, suddenly wanted to kill himself, Linder discovered a sad reality in law enforcement.
They talk about that whole brotherhood, oh yeah, everything together, but when there's one weak link, they push it out. They turn their backs. They don't call anymore, they don't show up, they're just gone.
He had told me that he was ready to die.
Michaela Sword is Kyle's wife.
I didn't know any resources, and me as a wife, I feel like that should be very known to family members. So when you see that your loved one is spiraling, you know who to reach out to. Because I also didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't want my husband to lose his job. I was a stay-at-home mom with little kids.
While seeking help, Michaela says her husband was pushed out of the department.
There are so many officers I know that have talked about committing suicide who I never thought in a million years would even think about it or talk about it.
Christina Coria is a retired Santa Monica police officer who's dealt with a lot. She was struck by the car of a DUI driver and years later injured at a shootout at Santa Monica Pier.
There's so many officers out there that are struggling with their identity, with finances, with relationship issues, with addictions to pain meds, addiction to alcohol. You name it, there's so many things going on that our departments are not reaching out to them enough.
Some of the struggles for first responders include trauma on the job, lack of public support, family or financial troubles, injuries on the job, feeling of abandonment after injuries, and lack of financial compensation, lack of support from superiors, forced medical retirement, and lack of sense of self after retirement.
What they see on a daily basis, we cannot even imagine, and they can't unthink what they see.
It's sad that these officers, didn't get the help that I'm sure they wanted and were looking for.
And we learned tonight from the spokesperson for the LA County Sheriff's Department that so far this year, 8 people have died by suicide.
4. They had 4 suicides in 2 days. LA County Sheriff's Department. Something going on. But did you hear that woman? They're all brothers, and there's they all support one another. But when there's a weak link, boom, they throw them out. That's what we do here. It's not just law enforcement, but it's people. It is so difficult to be real and honest in life, because if you are and you're not having that positive experience, you're thrown away. It's so heartbreaking, to realize what so many people have always been, right? But now, an awful lot are just showing their true colors. But the true colors of the American people are, who gives a shit the elderly are now being tossed out to live on the street? Why should I care? I have a home. I'm fine. I'm going to put the link into this video that was sent to me by a subscriber who I believe is in the chat. Yes, he is. I'm just going to, no, this is a woman who made a documentary, Dead Name. Dead Name trans documentary, censored as hate speech. Of course, hate speech. But I think it's very important, even if you are not affected by this whole trans agenda. Children are, So could you please at least click on it and maybe circulate it, especially to those you know who have children in public school? Circulating information. It's not hard to do, and it's very important to do. So the link is in the chat. What is a dead name?
Okay, so these children who are declaring themselves trans will typically say that the name given to them at birth is now their dead name. It also becomes a source of umbrage to this child who is lost in this fog, boy, girl, teen, adolescent, when a parent, a friend, a community member, a teacher calls them by their birth given name, and they will say that they are being dead named. It's an incredibly insidious term that upends sort of the whole inception of a child being born and being named and being raised.
The subject matters in this is the motivation behind the documentary, counters to common arguments that a whole lot of these trans activists make, parents versus institutions. Is there insight to be gained from gender affirming care, the social contagion, transitions after 18, and then closing thoughts? Okay, very, very, very important documentary. Breaking chaos in London. On Armistice Day, police deployed in Chinatown against protesters wearing St. George's flag ahead of pro-Palestine demonstration. Haha, what chaos! I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know what's going on. Okay, so when I was struggling with Chrome playing YouTube videos, I did go to Brave. I did get a couple, but then it started on Brave. Yay! Okay, so what is this? All of them. So the video that I included in my live last night of that woman who was practically in tears speaking up about a resolution for a ceasefire, and this was in Cobb County in Florida. Is there a Cobb County in Florida, or am I getting counties mixed up? But it was in Florida. So that woman, when she said how many, well, I think it's in this video as well. So let's just listen. That, well, they're going after that woman who said kill all of them, meaning Palestinians.
State Representative Michelle Salzman is facing some backlash tonight after comments she made on the floor of the House this week. She was responding to Representative Angie Nixon, who was urging the House to support a resolution calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. And Nixon told her colleagues 10,000 Palestinians have died so far, and then asked how many will be enough.
What came next was Nixon calling for Salzman's resignation. WEAR's Aubrey Spears joins us. Aubrey, you caught up with Michelle Salzman this morning.
I did, and she was leaving a veterans ceremony when we asked her about her comments.
We are at 10,000 dead Palestinians. How many will be enough? I also, one of my colleagues just said all of them. Wow.
Representative Angie Nixon was giving a speech during a House session, calling for a ceasefire in Israel and Palestine and the release of hostages by Hamas. As she was speaking, a voice shouted out, all of them. Nixon identified that speaker as Michelle Salzman. This morning, we asked Salzman about her comment.
Oh, that's fake. You really should know that.
Salzman's comment went viral, causing backlash from her colleagues and on social media. This morning, she confirmed to WEAR News that she has received threats over what she said.
I was clear in what I was talking about, which were the lives of innocent Palestinians, period. She said that when I asked how many Palestinians' lives have to end, she was clear. She said all of them.
You sure you don't want to comment at all?
Are you sure you want to follow me like this? Really? You have people, look at that, at a veterans event. I'm gonna pray for you.
Salzman posted to X, formerly known as Twitter, saying in part, my comments were unapologetically towards the Hamas regime. I never said Palestine. As a wife and a mother of a Jew, I stand strong in my support of Israel. But the heartbreaking loss of Palestinian lives is never a desire of mine. Nixon is calling for Salzman's censure and resignation.
It's not just about what she says, it's about what she does, and she has a history and a pattern of speaking recklessly and vile things in regards to people who don't agree with what she believes in, and she needs to be gone. She should not be a representative in the Florida legislature.
Northwest Florida Representative Alex Andrade confirmed he heard Salzman's response to Nixon. Today, he shared a statement with WEAR News saying,
I'm sorry. He said, I do not believe Salzman meant Palestinian civilians. Well, it's very clear because what you heard the woman who was speaking saying, how many more? She was talking about the Palestinians, and then that one shouts out, all of them? I'm sorry, it's clear. But now, she wants to muddy it and she wants to, squirm out of something that really should get her ejected from her position. And really? You're going to question me on Veterans Day? Yeah. Are you're dressed like that for that event? Give me I can't stand Americans. I really can't. I mean, we're just so flippin' mad. The majority, the huge majority, flippin' mad without a moral core. Good Samaritan arrested after stopping New York City subway assault by firing warning shots. So a woman was being robbed by a homeless man, and this man took out a gun, gave a warning shot, and then the homeless man ran away, but they eventually did find him. So he was arrested for criminal possession of a firearm and reckless endangerment because he fired a warning shot, stopping the assault. Well, in New York City, okay, that wasn't a very good choice of action in New York City. Probably better to just barrel over the homeless man with your body. I feel badly for the guy who got arrested, but you got to think smart about when you're a good Samaritan, you got to think smart. But I have to say that there was a tweet that I saw, somebody in line with this, somebody who was saying, well, when law enforcement's not doing their job, this is what happens. A whole lot of people become, well, vigilantes or good Samaritans. But this is New York City, and I'm not saying that you, because it's a city, you shouldn't pull out a gun. Because of the laws, blue state laws in terms of guns. Of course he's going to get arrested. So, but, you know, a lot of good people are going down, and I am really tired of it. This is another very sick and twisted dude. You know, pundits. Ignorance? Is it ignorance, Matt Taibbi? Ignorance? No. It is outright lying. If anybody doesn't know who this is Paul Krugman, the economist, who said this. Paul Krugman of the New York Times on America's belief problem when it comes to the economy. He said, Biden is not, in fact, presiding over a bad economy. On the contrary, the economic news has been remarkably good, and history helps explain why. Nonetheless, many Americans tell pollsters that the economy is bad. Why? I don't think we really know. Many voters have demonstrably false views about the current economy. Oh my God, I can't believe what I'm reading. Believing in particular that unemployment, this is what Trump also said, oh God, which is near a 50-year low, is actually near a 50-year high. A Guardian editorial, Krugman linked to explain, Americans continue to believe the economy sucks, even though they've been told over and over it doesn't. Why won't they listen? A sick motherfucker. We have an awful lot of them. We have an awful lot of them. I know. Years ago, he was awarded a Nobel Prize. He's just doing what the establishment wants him to do. Lie through your flippin' teeth, you psychopathic, narcissistic scum. For decades, I hated that word. Then I started saying in videos, I hate this word, but it's appropriate. Now I don't even say that. He's not suffering. He's doing fine. How many Americans are out there not suffering, doing fine, and not giving a shit about anybody? There's a whole lot of them. Morally superior. Can you believe the horse shit? American exceptionalism, moral superiority. Oof. Christian. Still, the majority are Christians. Iceland earthquake. Okay. Declares emergency as quake swarms signal potential volcanic eruption. Listen to this. This would frighten me.
Well, it depends. It updates every 10 minutes, so I guess it depends on how... Wow. Fuck.
that is pretty intense. Well, we're having earthquakes and volcanic eruptions all over. Could it have anything to do with HAARP and HAARP-like activities, those very, very, very powerful facilities that are using their electromagnetic frequencies? I'm sorry, you can lie down, all right? Oh boy, my arm was in the way. Go ahead. Little one, he gets pissy. I'm not kidding. God forbid I should move. There. Meow. What do you want? Meow. Go in. Meow. Anyway, so, yeah, it might have something to do with those facilities that are shooting out all of these electromagnetic frequencies that are having an effect on Earth, maybe. European Central Bank head reveals CBDCs could be used for control amid banking crisis. Do you remember this? This was back in 2020. Was it 2020? Oh no, April. I'm sorry. April 2023. Control. They're going to control you with the CBDCs, and we still can't get through to people, right? Well, how about Cyber 9/11? Cyber 9/11 coming. Talk of a Cyber 9/11 has been circulating for years, with the next presidential election 12 months away. Now, some folks are predicting that a major cyber event will happen before then, throwing a monkey wrench into the 2024 election process. Don't be surprised. But I actually just want to read what he says here at the end. So, we may not be able to avoid attempts at forced implementation, which he talks about, martial law or lockdowns, all this stuff that will come with a cyber event. But we can prepare by paying attention to our surroundings, becoming more skilled producers rather than consumers, and most of all, developing trusted networks of friends and family in the real world. It's essential, but like what we do in our own lives, growing up in this country, becoming adults, we never ever think about what's really important in life. Instead, it's about making money, being a material success. We don't value anything above that, but we talk a good game. Trust, trust, trust. How many of you have had conversations about the importance of trust with your children, with your friends, with your family? The importance of trust in relationships, trust in society. I have to bring this up and include it because this is what I've been talking about for 13 years, and I don't see an awful lot of people talking about the importance of prepping on that end. Prepping just to survive life. More important to have trusted friends and family where you can work together. That way, while you're surviving, you can actually live a little when you have trusted friends and family. Trust is everything. Trust is everything. It is the basis of a healthy relationship. It is the foundation for a healthy society. Look at us. Why did trust evaporate? Because an awful lot of people lie and betray one another. A whole lot of people want to focus on the social engineers, and they want to focus on all of the government officials and the mainstream media. I want to focus on the people. I want to focus on all of us. Because you can't change them, but perhaps in conversation, maybe a light will go off in people's head. Say, you know, I need to take a look at myself. I need to stop the lying. I need to actually be a power of example of living honestly and speaking honestly. Especially if I'm, you know, of the spiritual type. For sure, Christian, lying is an abomination. So, when you don't have that, life literally becomes meaningless, and we're there. So, massive London march for Palestinians as far-right protests turn violent.
By what they describe as the appalling and loutish behaviour, which they say showed great disrespect to the service. The former leader of the English Defence League, Tommy Robinson, filmed himself walking towards the cenotaph just before the armistice service.
And there's groups coming from every area and angle.
Afterwards, he got into a taxi and drove away. Some of those he was with later clashed with riot police in Chinatown. Ironically, it was the pro-Palestinian protesters who the police had banned from Whitehall to try to avoid disruption. Hundreds of thousands of people took part in the march calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. It was held well away from Whitehall and deliberately timed to start after the armistice service. One of the organisers blamed rhetoric from the Home Secretary for encouraging the far right to try to disrupt proceedings.
We've never had those groups coming out all over the past 5 weeks, never. But when it became as if we are hate marchers against our own country, it became some kind of incentive for those right-wing groups, you know, just to come out and confront us.
It was the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who described events like these as hate marches. The Prime Minister has also called the timing of today's march disrespectful. The organisers are well aware of the intense scrutiny they're under today. They say they have 700 stewards who are marshalling this event, and they've been told to challenge anyone displaying placards that are anti-Semitic or using language that...
And I'm sick of listening to this lying bullshit. Placards that are anti-Semitic. Oh, God. Okay. It is a nightmare, a horror show. Hell being brought upon a people. They're dying. The bombing raids are intense. An awful lot. If you go to my Twitter page and scroll down, you'll see an awful lot of the horror that is taking place. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, my neighbor's dog just got loose. Hang on. He's not home. All right, so, yeah. Boo-boo. Okay. I can't believe my life. All right, not good. All right, can I just say that? I'll just play it.
Is deemed offensive.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Many Jews find this chant, "From the river to the sea," deeply offensive, interpreting it as a desire for an end to the existence of Israel. Protesters, though, say it's simply a call for Palestinian rights to be respected. One of those taking part had been at the armistice service earlier on.
This morning was about the war dead, commemorating everyone that's created the conditions for us to have the democracy that we have. This afternoon, this is about an event that's happening which is completely and utterly disproportionate with regard to the number of people that are being killed.
Levelling Up Secretary Michael Gove happened to be at Victoria Station as protesters held a brief sit-in. He had to get a police escort. The march organisers have asked protesters to peacefully disperse, but to leave in groups for their own safety.
Well, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has blamed the Home Secretary herself for the unrest, saying Suella Braverman's comments had made the police's job much harder. Scotland's First Minister, Humza Yousaf, has called for her to resign, saying she'd emboldened the far right. She hasn't personally commented. Porrick O'Brien joins me now live from Whitehall. Porrick.
Kathy, that enormous police operation that Jane was talking about in her report is continuing this evening, which is significant, especially for one Sir Mark Rowley, the head of the Metropolitan Police. There was a lot at stake here. He was under an enormous amount of pressure ahead of this demonstration, compliments of the Home Secretary. What was different about this demonstration compared to other Saturdays was the policing of the counter demonstrators, as Jane also mentioned in her report. The police strategy there, as we saw on the ground, was to detain and stop those counter protesters who were holed up in pubs and adjacent streets to the main route from getting anywhere near the route before they could potentially cause any violence. During last Saturday's pro-Palestinian demonstration, there were around 30 arrests, relatively few given the size of the crowd. Then a week of febrile debate in the lead up to this Remembrance Weekend, including contributions from the Home Secretary. Today, there have been almost 100 arrests so far. The majority were of counter-demonstrators, elements of the far-right and alt-right, football hooligan groups and others called on supporters to come to central London today. They arrived in their hundreds. The majority of arrests took place here on a street in Pimlico, central London, parallel to the pro-Palestinian march. Police detained a large group of men suspected of wanting to disrupt the main demonstration. This security operation isn't just about deploying large amounts of police officers on the street, it's about clever preemptive policing as well. So the main demonstration is passing by on a street just parallel to us here, and we've stumbled across this. The police have detained about 100 men. The worry, I assume, is that they would try to have interfered with the demonstration and caused a security incident. There were other small flashpoints on streets adjacent to the main route. Scuffles broke out, and as we were filming, one of the men outside the pub knocked the camera out of our hands.
Okay, you know, he never locked the front gate. Both of his dogs got out, and one of them is really very strong, but I got him back in. Why don't people just do what is necessary? I don't get it. He doesn't secure the fence area. When he's at work, I'm constantly going over there to secure the fence, bringing cinder blocks over that are on this property, and I was told I can do whatever I want with them, but I don't understand. And then I'll have conversations with him, and he'll say, well, he thinks the dogs should just be perfectly behaved without doing anything. You know, people who are not responsible end up being a major burden on other people. I am so flippin' tired. The liars, the irresponsible, the people who are just about themselves. Just about themselves. We're so fucked. We are. I'll put the link into Here's the Deals video. Brian, I'm going to play a few minutes. Where is it? Oh, it's on Brave.
This ponytail tyrant forced an interaction on a kid who was out there exercising his rights, and she arrested him for exercising those rights. Which, by the way, Officer Holland from the Mendota, Illinois Police Department, is a crime.
Stop. Why are you recording the nursing home? I'm speaking to you. Chris.
Please let me go.
No, I need to find out what's going on. You're upsetting the people who work here. So stop.
You work for me, I don't work for you. Did I do anything illegal?
You're upsetting the people who live here.
Did I do anything illegal?
I want to know what's going on because you're upsetting these people.
I want to know what's going on because you're upsetting these people.
I'm going to put you in handcuffs if you don't stop.
You can put me in handcuffs.
Okay, then stop.
No, you can put me in handcuffs. This isn't legal.
Then her sergeant arrived on the scene and had her answer for her crime.
So what did he do that was disorderly?
I'm getting a complaint about you being over here recording. And he's like, walk away. I'm like, Chris, come here.
Okay.
Chris, come here. Chris, come here.
But what was he doing that they feel is disorderly?
And I explained to them the situation, and they
Sam, what was he doing that was disorderly?
He was recording them in the windows.
So he's walking by videotaping the building?
Videotaping the building. He's like zooming in on the.
It's not illegal to do that.
I explained to them what's going on, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I don't know what he's doing."
Okay, but time out. That's not illegal to do that.
Okay.
So he's not acting in a disorderly manner if he's on the sidewalk walking by videotaping the outside of the building.
Don't!
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I thought that was a good interjection of hello, darkness, my old friend. Power trip. Put on a uniform. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. And then you have power trip people who don't even have a uniform. Okay, what I wanted to play, refresh page. Oh. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and do it, but this was Batoons out, clashes between police and counter-protesters in London as pro-Palestine march takes place. And Jewish protester encourages Jews to join pro-Palestine protest while wearing their kippahs, yarmulkes. Well, I can't get that video. But I have that might be for another time. So, Palestinian fighters and Israeli forces engaged in violent confrontations in occupied West Bank. This is the Minister of Health in Gaza who is reporting on how many, well, that you will hear, but it goes on for another 10 minutes and, well, of course, maybe bombing should stop.
Today, the total number of deaths since the beginning of this war exceeded 11,000 Palestinians. More than 4,500 children, 3,000 women, 700 elders. The total number of injuries have exceeded 27,000. Most of them are women and children. The situation across all hospitals has reached unprecedented point in the old history or even modern history, even in the prehistoric area. The Israeli occupation forces continue to bombard hospitals, ambulances, medical crews, failing or turning a blind eye to the international laws, ethics, moralities, or any practice. It is nothing but a genocide war. Indiscriminate direct shelling. As we speak, Al-Shifa Hospital, according to the latest reports, the electric power was cut off of most of the hospital. The fourth story of the delivery unit was shelled. The outpatient clinic was also shelled. The outer gate and the main yard and the walls were also shelled. As a result, fire broke out in the ambulance within the hospital compound. And as we speak, the Israeli occupation forces continue to besiege and shell the hospital. The baby-born incubator is now without power. The oxygen suppliers are also out. Now there is nothing but inevitable death. This is what is waiting for the patients and victims. And as we speak, I received the latest number. 39 baby-born were killed. This is the number I just received. 39 baby-born were killed. And the blood of those children are on the hands of Israel and the international community.
And that's absolutely true. The blood is on the United States, Israel, and all of the other countries who are not speaking up and who are supporting this genocide. And all of the people, and I would love to just get people to consider or think about if they think this is what Jews do. No. This is what evil does. This is what evil does. And an awful lot are supporting that evil. Not just Jews, a whole lot of Christians supporting this evil. It's a war between evil and good.
Like this because
I posted this video on my channel, and I think I titled it, "This isn't my..." No. This is the from a different channel. My videos don't go viral, but I still want to say free Palestine. And my title was, "This woman knows what is right." And then I asked a question, do you? And it's so interesting. Whenever I ask a question like that, I get so few comments.
I didn't want to make another video like this because I didn't want to make my profile about this, but you know what? I'm going to make one last video because regardless of what, my videos don't go viral, so it's a little bit of people that watch me. But I must say that what's happening in Palestine is sad. But you know what's the saddest thing for me? That there is a lot of people out there that have big platforms, a lot of famous people, and they don't speak up. So why are we supporting them? Why are we supporting their accounts when they're not speaking up for humanity? They're more scared about losing followers, losing part of their business versus standing up for what's right and for humanity. I see very few entrepreneurs, very few TikTokers that are influencers speaking about it as well. So why are we supporting them? Why are we following them? If people don't speak up and stand up for what's right, then why are we supporting them? I lost so many friends and family in these last few days over this. Honestly, I don't care because obviously they're not important in my life, and trust me, I'm better off without them. But I refuse to be silent even if I am little in the eyes of social media. And what is going on against Palestine is inhumane, is beyond a genocide. You guys are trying to eliminate them from the face of this earth, and that goes against all human rights. If you are a person that is staying silent, I question you, and I don't want you in my life. I know I'm one little person here on social media, but even if it's 10 people that hear this message, I'm okay with that. It's 10 people that maybe didn't hear the other messages. The murder of innocent children is just so unfair. I can't fathom the pain of these mothers. I really just cannot imagine, but as a mother, I mean, I've suffered just watching the videos because it's so painful to see parents saying goodbye to their little babies. The pain in my heart is so deep that I literally just want to erase all social media so I don't have to see it. But I decided to keep my social media and face it because this is the reality that we're living. Thank you for watching my videos. Please stand for Palestine. We must resist for them. We must go against the governments and ask them to cease fire now. Thank you for watching.
Everyone should be speaking out. So, the 10 views posting that video got her on another channel with 11,402 views. My channel posted it on Twitter. Circulation is very important, and she's a power of example. This is what the good side does. They don't just sit back and have a fabulous time and, oh, you know, for entertainment, I'm going to see what's happening in the world. That's what good. That's the action of good. That's behavior of good.
We, as medical staff, want to leave, but we cannot. We might not survive until the morning.
Shifa, Arabic for healing.
We might finish. We might not survive till the morning. We don't want to be killed here. Just only because we remained committed to our patients and our medical profession. I am calling for help urgently. Please do whatever you can through your government or the international, the ICRC, the Red Cross, to arrange a safe corridor for the medical staff. Please treat this as top urgent. This is the director of the major trauma hospital in Gaza.
Cease fire now! 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 Cease fire now!
Miles Jones, you ask a question. What is more important, speaking or sharing? If you have to ask that question, take a look in the mirror. Do some work on yourself. Really? How about both? Oh my God, do both?
I would also like to
like others, thank Director General. I would also like to, like others, thank Director General Ghebreyesus and Director General Gilani for their briefings. The current round of Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been going on for 35 days now, and the situation continues to deteriorate. When tens of thousands of people, including more than 4,000 children, have lost their lives, when more than 1.6 million people have been forced to flee their homes, when 2.3 million people continue to be cut off from water, electricity, fuel, food, and medicine, and when hospitals, schools, refugee camps, and UN facilities have been frequently targeted, this is not only a humanitarian crisis, but it's more also a crisis of humanity.
And that's quite right. The link to the previous video, which was it this nurse? I don't know what previous video you're talking about. This video? That's on my channel, Never Lose Truth 1. I got off my grounding for a week. So I'll put this link in. I don't know what link you're talking about. That's the nurse. But yeah, China. Okay, so that was China. But interesting, Taiwan media broke the news that the CCP sent its corps of engineers from Egypt into Gaza to help Hamas build the tunnel network. After Israel attacked Gaza, Hamas refused to release the CCP engineers. Okie dokie. All the countries are working together. U.S. funds Hamas. Israel created funds Hamas. CCP helps Hamas create the tunnels. All working together. They all do work together. So, and this, just a reminder.
Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat.
Arafat himself told an Italian newspaper, quote, Hamas is a creature of Israel. He even claimed that former Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin admitted as much to him, calling it a fatal error. Now, you might be wondering, why should I believe mad Ron Paul or the famously shady Yasser Arafat? Well, you don't have to. You can believe top Israeli and US officials who've basically owned up to all this. Brigadier Yitzhak Segev, for example, who was the Israeli military governor in Gaza, and later told a New York Times reporter that he helped finance the Islamic movement. The Israeli government gave me a budget, he said, and the military government gives to the mosques. Colonel David Hakam, who worked in Gaza in the late 1980s as an Arab affairs expert in the Israeli military, has admitted that the original sin was Israeli support for Yassin in the late 70s. But at the time, he has argued, nobody thought about the possible results. Well, Avner Cohen did. Cohen was the Israeli official who was responsible for religious affairs in Gaza for more than 2 decades, and who now says, quote, Hamas, to my great regret, is Israel's creation. Yeah, Cohen's words. He actually wrote an official report to his superiors in the mid-1980s, warning them not to play divide and rule in the occupied territories and calling on Israel to, quote, break up this monster before this reality jumps in our face.
I guess it jumped in Israel's face.
And when Joe Biden said in a rare moment of truth, more than 30 years ago, but you can still see the video, when he said in the Senate, if Israel didn't exist, we would have to invent it. He was telling the truth. Israel's function and purpose is to serve the interests of the empire, now the American Empire, formerly the British Empire, the European settler colonial projects that existed everywhere. in Mozambique, in Angola, in Cape Verde, in Rhodesia, in Zambia, in South Africa. These European colonial projects in West Africa, they were French, were for a purpose. They were scrambling for Africa so they could loot it. In earlier times, loot even the people and take them as slaves. They made Israel, and they said so, openly. We must make in Israel, said the British government at the time of the Balfour Declaration, a loyal British Ulster in the Middle East. One that would do our bidding, control the area for us, allow us to continue looting the resources of the Arab world, that will turn everyone against each other, divide so we can rule. That was the purpose of the British in 1917 when they issued the Balfour Declaration. And it is the purpose, as Biden told us 30 years ago in the US Senate. They are working for us, not the other way around.
Well, this is our life. So, most people would ignore that video you shared with the lady calling for a ceasefire. And so, no matter what I have to say, I would likely be ignored as well. Why waste my breath then? So you're allowing apathetic people to create apathy in you. You're letting them control you. And maybe you're actually using them as an excuse for your apathy. I don't know. Maybe. Just rolled out of the Everglades and saw this while passing through Miami. This is a thinly veiled threat warning. Be ready, peeps.
Oh yeah. They're just telling you so you know, because they always tell you.
That was Richie from Boston. Whether it's Hamas or they'll say it's Hamas, no doubt. You know, if the cells are ignited here in the United States, they'll say it's Hamas. So, but I do want to show you a video that I posted on my channel just in case any of you missed it. Let me go back here. Go to YouTube. Let's switch account. Well, I'm on that account. And go to YouTube Studio. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I did post it on Never Lose Truth 1. Switch account again. Never, oh, I don't think I can get it. Oh, massive number of migrants crossing in to Arizona. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's play this game, YouTube. Let's play the game. Let's see. How many times do I have to do this? I couldn't get... yeah. Okay. I have no ad block on my computer anymore. But this is what goes on. Can't see any videos. And if this continues tomorrow, then I'm just going to do Twitter. That's it. I'll just work off Twitter because this is a flippin' joke. YouTube is a joke. But if you can see videos, then I'll post the link because, wow, there's an awful lot coming in to Arizona. A whole lot. So, I just hope that all of you stay safe, do what you can, be a power of example, speak out, try to help those in your community that need help, live honestly, speak honestly. Not a lot of people know how to do that. It actually takes an awful lot of self-reflection, self-examination. You can hear yourself lying throughout the day. Hey, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. The robotic responses that we give to one another. Really, really try to pay attention to what people are saying, and which requires real listening, not with your own experience, but just listening to somebody else's experience. We need to change, and we need to keep changing to be a force of good. It requires a whole lot of work. And it requires so much work because we have grown up in a culture where people literally dismiss, it's not even on their radar, the most important things about life. And those very important things actually bring joy to our lives. Living honestly, speaking honestly, trust. Don't betray people. Don't lie to them. Because once you start, a whole lot of liars don't get that everything that they have said before, when you find out that they're lying, then everything comes into question about them. You don't want to be a questionable human being. Your word should mean something. Your word. When you speak your word, live it. Live it. So, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. And on that note, I say good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.